Hi guys and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21 and it is time for the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya right here in the Catalan GP for round 7. So in pole position is Miller with Martin and Grant on the front row, Bagnaia, Quartararo and Bastianini on the second, Marquez, Vinales, Oliveira, Binder, Petrucci, Lecuona, Zarco, Mir, Marquez, Morbidelli, Espargaro, Nakagami, Rins, Savadori, Rossi and Luca Marini at the back of the grid. So we look to the red lights, waiting for the time to strike, and away we go. Nice start there, we're running the hard front and the medium rear, and we got off the line like a shot. Power setting 3 enabled, full acceleration. Let's try and get the whole shot going into turn 1. I tell you what, that is brilliantly positioned. Hard on the brakes we went for the first corner, and then go on to the left hand side for turn 2. Beautifully done, already into the lead, exactly what I envisioned on the grid. And there we go, into the first position we go, and I'm hoping we can stay here for the duration of the Grand Prix. It's going to be very similar to the Le Mans Grand Prix, I do feel, that I'm going to get to the front and they're going to try and hound me until I make a potential mistake. We are not going to make mistakes. We try not to, at least. Let's see what we can do. So going into turn 4, nicely smoothly executed. Now for turn 5, we are 10th and a little bit ahead of Jorge Martin. Now the rest of the apple cart has not been spoiled yet. Seems everyone is roughly in the positions where they started in. Not quite Miguel Oliveira and factory KTM teammate Darren Binder. They have improved as Enea Bastianini went a little bit backwards. Still Martin and Miller. No sign of them just yet. Oh, never mind. There is Jorge Martin on the Pramac Ducati, just featuring in turn 9 there. But for turn 10, you better believe we are very, very strong. So firmly on the brakes we go for Lakaisha for turn 10. Nice and tight to the apex and a little bit of a wide entry, or excuse me, a wide exit to then fire it into the next couple of corners. So 0.3 of a second is the gap currently, but we still have plenty in this one to go. I'm still using power setting 2 and I probably will remain using 2 for the duration of this Grand Prix. Unless required, we may need to use power setting 3. Let's see how we can cope. First, something to mention, championship antagonists in this one. Johan Zarco, Joan Mir, Pecco Bagnaia not having the great race that we anticipated. So for the time being, as long as we stay in the first position, we could actually come away with a championship lead. It's been a while since we've been in the championship lead, since the last round of Valencia in the previous season. So we definitely need that bit of motivation. Then again, we've still had a very, very positive season, which we have clawed some incredible wins, and we have fought with incredible tenacity this season. So I'm pretty certain we can continue this way regardless whether we get the championship lead or not. The gap is still oscillating around 1/10 of a second to 2/10 of a second. It hasn't budged. Martin is still there. Miller is also still there. And I think Fabio Quartararo is now there as well, as he's made a move on Jack Miller's factory teammate, Pecco Bagnaia. But now into the TV3, running a little bit deep there, not quite as tight as I would have liked, but we're still decent enough with 0.3 of a second advantage. Now I did run the hard front. Now I have decided to use a few other tyre combinations this season. Last season I didn't bother pretty much. We just always remained with the medium front and medium rear. But the change of the soft front in Jerez made the race extremely tense and exciting. And now using the hard front, this could be a genius stroke, a master stroke if you will, to try and make sure we get the victory here in Barcelona. So not quite any overtakes yet. I am surprised. I expected a lunge or at least 2 by now from either Martin or Miller. So things are looking pretty good for us so far, with a sense of defending well. We're going to cross the line now and we're going to get a good indication of what our lap times are going to be. So across the line we are the fastest. We were temporarily the fastest. Martin's the fastest, and then Fabio Quartararo, the real-life world champion, inserts his name into the timing sheet with a 1:39.157. So he was only 1/10 quicker than what we were. Just 1/10, that's it. Just 1/10, exactly. So not really cause for concern right now. I'm pretty confident in our abilities. Good job from Alex Marquez, still hanging in there in the top 10. The same can be said for Enea Bastianini, but unfortunately Miguel Oliveira nowhere to be seen within the top 8 position, so something has happened to the Portuguese rider. But for us, we are focusing on the front, and already the front right and the medium rear right is had a hounding in just 2 laps. Lord almighty, are they going to last? Is the hard front even going to last? Let's find out as this race continues to hot up. But what I will say is I haven't seen a single yellow flag out yet. And look at that snake in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen there, guys. There is not one single gap It is a massive snake going around this Barcelona Grand Prix right now. Oh, there's a little gap going into Catalunya, but that's about it. It's a very, very close race so far. If one mistake could possibly mean losing a good chunk of positions, we must continue to defend with everything we possibly can. I guess we're not really defending right now. I'm just trying to run my own pace. The kind of Lorenzo-style races that we used to get, or even now in this modern era with Fabio Quartararo, where they just get out to the front and start running their own pace. It's certainly going to be an interesting one, this one. I did expect a few more overtakes, I won't lie, but so far I'm yet to be caught up. So across the line we will go. I have improved my lap time to 1:38.225, just very, very close to the previous lap I did, but still not the fastest lap, and I guess it's not really a concern if we don't get the fast lap, as long as we're still roughly around that fastest lap time. Martin, Miller, Grant on the podium right now. That's a good finish for us. We're going to get back some serious points, as Quartararo still hanging in fourth, but I did expect him to maybe make a move on Jack Miller sooner rather than later. But going into turn 4, up by a tenth and a little bit, or we were just a moment ago in the sense of the timing screens in the top right hand corner of your screen. And now onto the left hand side, nice and tight to the apex of 5 if we can. Ran it a little bit deep, not as quite as tight as I would have liked, but we still got the acceleration coming underneath the Michelin sign and then going into the TV3. So onto the left hand side, looks like Binder and Bagnaia are having a bit of a ding-dong of a battle. I'm seeing their names chop and chase on the left hand side of the screen. Every now and again your attention is brought to it as you see the red 63 just get ahead of the orange 33. Well, now bring on the acceleration for turn 10. We are up, and I think we're going to improve once again as Enea Bastianini has now got ahead of Brad Binder. So Bastianini went backwards a little bit, but has now returned to his original form. So good job for Enea Bastianini. But now onto the right for turn 11, with that right knee sticking to the floor like glue right on the right hand side, just launching Aprilia over to one side, and then doing the same for turn 12, and then again for turn 13 in a moment's time. So Brad Binder has just gone backwards, and Brad Binder has disappeared from the top 8 positions. Iker Lecuona is now the top KTM representative. Excellent job for the young Spaniard, and across the line we will go. We will take the fast lap of the race with a 1:38.892. Is this the start of the domination in Catalunya? So far we have yet to be touched. Not one single overtake has occurred. I'm really surprised at this one. Really, really surprised. I was disappointed that we lost the pole position just 4 hours ago, but if we can stay in this position and win the race, I'm pretty certain we've done one better as far as I'm concerned. Medium rear, I'm going to keep an eye on that one, because the right hand side, that tyre looks a little bit worse for wear. The same can be said for the hard front, but I'm pretty confident the hard's going to last, and we still have 0.6 of a second advantage to Martin, and we still have plenty of fuel in our little backlog just in case we need it. I'm not going to use it yet, I don't think it's necessary, and I'm in a wonderful groove with power setting 2. I really am. I love running power setting 2, just constantly doing the same lap times. I feel confident, I feel good, I feel smooth, and feel very, very in control right now. So very tight to the apex for turn 9. If you're going to get better at Catalunya, just a little quick tip for you: get turn 9 right and go tight to the apex. If you go wide, you lose tremendous amount of time. I always used to lose time there, and I never understood why. At least now, I know. So now onto the left hand side, coming out of Catalunya, up by 0.8 of a second. I think this one's pretty much done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really know what else to say. We have done a tremendous job of just maintaining the pace at the front. Now I will mention, I do get a little bit nervous, and maybe the concentration lacks a little bit when I'm in the lead for so long, but I'm hoping that isn't going to be the case here today. So let's see how we can get on. But across the line we will go. It's going to be another fantastic lap. It certainly is. It's a 1:39.196. Look at that consistency, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very close lap times. They only deviate roughly by about 0.3 of a second. Pretty good stuff here in Catalunya right now, isn't it? I would certainly say so. And if you like that consistency, then I would highly suggest you hit that like button on the video, and also consider subscribing, because there's a lot more MotoGP 21 content coming from DrAce right now, so stay tuned for a lot more. Well, now on the right for turn 4 we go, nice and tight to the apex, still running my same classic electronics of the TCS3, the anti-wheelie 4, engine brake on 4, and then the power setting, which changes when and where required, but for the time being, staying on power setting 2. I don't think I'm going to need to change it, I really don't. Martin and Miller haven't shown me a single wheel. The closest we see Martin was into turn 9 on the second lap, I believe it was. We've barely seen the Pramac Ducati just feature in the bottom of the screen, but since then, nothing. Not seen anyone. Been a little bit of a lonely race as the gap has actually started to build up now. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen the snake has been split into a couple of little mini groups, so just keep an eye on that one just in case it gets a little bit closer and a little bit tighter. But right now, the only man who can get into the 138s into this race, the only man who is running it so smooth up at the front, and we did actually lose a little bit of time there. Goodness me, have I said too much? Have I just said too much? We have lost 0.8 of a second on this lap. I hate how this happens, I really do. I get a little bit nervous every now and again. I just lose a little bit of concentration. It's not massive, but we did lose a little bit. So Martin is now trailing by just 0.2 of a second. Also, that was the first lap time that we deviated worse than 0.3 of a second. We actually lost a little bit of time compared to our previous laps. They're not necessarily the worst laps in the world, but we did lose a little bit of time. Just something to call for concern. Not massively, but it's just something to pay attention to. 0.4 of a second is the gap to Martin. This is not quite over yet. We need to really pay attention to that gap as we get a little bit careful on the rumble strip. I have to be careful on that corner. It's so easy to touch that rumble strip and lose so much time, so be very, very careful if you do happen to touch that rumble strip. Best advice is just keep well away from the rumble strip upon the braking, but you have to go relatively close to it to get the right apex, because if you don't brake that close, you'll never brake it in and get into the apex. So, difficult corner to get right. Don't touch the rumble strip. That's the best advice I can possibly give you. So we did regain the time though. I used power setting 3 just briefly on the start-finish straight. I don't know if you noticed or not, but for the time being we are back into power setting 2. And we are up by 1/10 and a little bit. I'm getting a bit nervous now. A whole 1/10 of a second it dropped down to there. This is getting rather close. Is Jorge Martin gonna just somehow upset the apple cart right now? Is Jorge Martin going to be saving something for the very end to disappoint me and the 2,000 so many aces we've got? Not quite 2,500 yet. If you've not subscribed yet, we're still trying to get to 2,500. I'd be very grateful if you could help me out before Christmas. But for the time being, we have lost another 0.9 of a second on this lap. Things are getting really close now. Martin is probably going to be right behind me as power setting 3 has been enabled. Forget it. I'm panicking. Power setting 3 is going to have to stay on for the rest of this lap as we now go very firm on the brakes for turn 1. Get into turn 2, hopefully still have the advantage. We do have 0.3 of a second advantage, and with power setting 3 applied, I think this lap time, as long as we stay together and keep focused, could be a wicked lap. It's not necessarily about the lap, it's just all about keeping it clean, keeping it on 2 wheels and keeping it well away from Jorge Martin. Now onto the right hand side for turn 4, still up by 0.3 of a second. We may have given him a little sniff of a victory, but we aren't going to let him blow his nose. No chance here, not a chance. We're going to do everything we possibly can to win this Catalan Grand Prix, and so far this lap time has looked extremely good. We've looked really solid, even though the tyres are looking a bit worse for wear, and they should be at this point, because of course we absolutely hammered it to try and stay with this gap. But right now, every single lap we've done, apart from the first lap of course because it starts from a standing start, has been in a whole second. So the fast lap of the race, which was a 1:38.892, to our slowest lap of the race, the 1:38.836, that whole second gap has just stayed there for the entire duration. I think that's fantastic. And we now have a 0.7 of a second lead ahead of Jorge Martin, approaching the final 2 corners. What a race. I think we've done a really, really good job here today. I'm feeling fantastic with the Aprilia right now. The RSGP is terrific, and I think it shows here today. We'll have the testing tomorrow, so I'm sure we can even improve this bike that little bit more. But for the time being, another victory goes to the man on your screens right now. DrAce does it again. Mike Grant takes another victory this season. So the world champion takes the victory 0.5 of a second ahead of Jorge Martin and almost 2 seconds ahead of Jack Miller. Excellent race for the man on board the Aprilia. So after that one, we have taken the World Championship lead, just 5 points clear from Pecco Bagnaia, 19 clear from Joan Mir, and 23 clear from the French rival, Johan Zarco. A look at the team championship right now, and Ducati Lenovo team leading the way from 12 points to Pramac Racing Ducati, and of course, Matt Grant doing everything he possibly can to keep Aprilia in the battle, are trailing by 32 points. So another Grand Prix has come to a close, and another Grand Prix. We sit atop of the podium. Very, very pleased with this one. May not have been the most interesting races, but I also didn't have to shout as much as usual, so kind of a bonus for me. But upon that note, guys, honestly, another brilliant race, another brilliant victory, and we now have the championship lead. The world champion has a wonderful chance now of retaining if we can continue with this form. Tomorrow's video will be the testing here in Catalunya, so stay tuned for that one, and we'll go to the podium to celebrate another victory. But upon that note, guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, let me know in the comments section down below. If you really enjoyed it, hit the like button and also consider subscribing as well. I'm on the push, I'm on the charge for 2,500 subscribers by the end of the year, and I would really appreciate your assistance. But upon that note, guys, thanks for watching as always. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.